Welcome to the show. Basketball and barbecue, everything alike. From the court to the grill, stories we will share. Tasty bites and highlights together everywhere. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. Fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on a plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will play. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride. Ball and fried chicken, slam dunks and spicy fries. Catch the play-by-play man on a plate of good times. Join us for the flavor, join us for the game. Every bite and replay, memories will play. Sports Bites, let's unite. Great food and games tonight. Tune in, feel the vibe. It's a winning ride.
Welcome to Sports Bites. With your host, Chris Joseph. Are you a sports fanatic who loves the thrill of the game and the delicious food that accompanies it?
And then they had chicken with fingers, exotic chicken fingers.
Join us as we dive into the world of sports and the delectable bites that make the experience even better. Whether you're in the stadium, tailgating, or watching from the comfort of your home, get ready to satisfy your sports cravings with Chris Joseph on Sports Bites. Let's dig in.
What is up, everybody? Yes, let us dig in. It is time. It is here. College football is upon us. And I hope everybody has had a great offseason as we get ready to move forward with what could be one of the best college football seasons that we can remember, right? And there's so much going on. A lot to get into today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the plan is for the show moving forward. I hope it's something that you guys like. I hope it's something that, can bring a lot of enjoyment to people as well. So first off, I want to say thank you to everybody at the College Football Dogs. They were gracious enough to let me go on a little vacation. I was across the pond, as you would say. Went to London for 10 days. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about all the food. Obviously, I love talking about food. So I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that me and my wife experienced over in London. But the big thing is to really get ready, get ramped up for this college football season. So we have games that have already been played. I'm going to break down the week 0 games, Florida State, Georgia Tech. Everybody watch that over in Dublin. Montana State, New Mexico, SMU, Nevada. We'll talk about those games. And then kind of really set everybody up moving forward for what the show is going to be like. I'm excited because Thursday night, I get to be back in a press box. I get to be at Protective Stadium here in Birmingham, Alabama, to watch the UAB Blazers and the second year under Trent Dilfer take on Alcorn State. I just wrote an article, and you can catch it on the College Football Dogs, my predictions for UAB. I have high hopes for UAB this year. In year 2 under Dilfer, I think Jacob Zeno, the returning quarterback, they're going to have a pretty good offense, and I think they're going to have a chance to be a really, really good football team. But before we get into all that, I want y'all to look down here. You're going to see the socials where we're all a part of. You can follow, can interact. I love the interaction with fans. I love the interaction with the people during the show. So please feel free to hop in the chat. Also, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does me a lot. Okay, it does me a lot. And see, Brad, hey, what's up, man? Welcome back. Hey, I'll tell you this: if you like Iowa Hawkeye football, you need to check out Brad and his partner Brandon, to do the Hawkaholics podcast. I had the guy on earlier that created the wave. I don't know if you know Charlie Taylor, Brad, but Charlie Taylor used to work at Oklahoma, and I knew him. Now he's up there doing a lot of stuff with Iowa. So I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna talk to Charlie for you, see if we can get you hooked up. But Brad, appreciate you stopping by, man. I appreciate you welcoming me back. It was a lot of fun on that trip. But I'm on Twitter at Sports Bites Pod 1. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, Twitch. Go follow, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Get in on the ground floor now, because I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to start doing subscriptions, and I'm going to start charging people for like articles and content and stuff like that. So let's get on the ground floor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, everything, and just follow. Because if you want some really good college football coverage, the College Football Dogs have. I just got my FWAA brochure today. Proud member of that. I'm one of the Super 16 voters for the FWAA, so I get a vote in the top 25 every week. Looking forward to that. But it's going to be a fun football season, okay? And a little bit of what I'm going to do, restructuring the show. I only did one show a week. I'm really diving in and just I'm going to attack this, full on. Mondays is going to be my Reaction Monday show, right? From 7 between 8 to 8:30. I'm going to lead you right up to the Golden Boot. The guys at the Golden Boot, we kind of talked and, bumping up a little bit to what the Golden Boot is doing, who they do a great job. They got great interviews, between George, Vandy, Chris, and Cody. I mean, they do a great job, all right? All on the Dogs TV network. And we got you covered. You like Big Ten? Check out the Big Ten backers. You like the Iowa Hawkeyes? Hawkaholics. We have you covered. I promise. If you are into college football Dogs is where it's at. So go ahead, check out the website, subscribe. A lot of stuff coming. Get some gear. I got a polo coming soon. I got to have a polo so I can sit in the booth and be a part of what's going on in college football this year. So again, welcome into Sports Bites. This is season 2, episode 1. As I mentioned, Monday is going to be my Reaction Monday show. All right. So I want everybody to come in, be able to enjoy themselves, kind of talk about the games. We're going to pick and choose, probably, the top 5, top 6 games to really dive into, but talk about what happened the weekend previous. Then throughout the week, with the show being called Sports Bites, I have come up with quick little 30-minute hitter episodes of SEC bites, ACC bites, Big Ten bites, so on and so forth. Each day of the week, a 30-minute little blurb on the conference and what's going on, where teams are ranked, standings, the big games in that conference, coming up. So every week it's going to be the same. I'll release an SEC bites, a Big 12 bites, Big 10 bites, ACC bites, and a G5 bites. We're obviously got to talk about the G5. Guys, if you're into the Sun Belt, watch the Sun Belt Syndicate. All right, Dominic and those guys do a fantastic job. You want some really good G5 coverage? Check out what they have going on over at the Sun Belt Syndicate. And then Friday is going to be kind of my preview to the weekend heading into it. Now, this weekend, I'm excited. Everybody that has watched the show and seen it knows that I'm an Oklahoma fan. Okay, I'm an Oklahoma fan, and we play Friday night. So it's going to be really interesting with Friday nights going. And I know a lot of guys that still officiate out in Oklahoma, and a lot of the high school games got moved up to Thursday night, so that way they can actually do what they want to do. The guys can go to the show, right? Or they're going to see the game, Oklahoma and Temple. I'll talk a little bit about that later, but man, really just a lot of fun to get in and see college football this year. Now, my wife and I made it back, so we tried to figure out the time. We were probably up 23, 24 hours almost. So we left the Airbnb we were at in London at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So that would be midnight here just to get to turn the car in that we rented, get through customs, do all that with an international flight. And then it went through a lot easier than I thought. So then we had to fly 10 hours from London that left at like 10:30 from London to Dallas, Fort Worth, which that's a horrible flight. 10 hours from London to Dallas. Now I watched 3 movies. I watched Varsity Blues, I watched The Longest Yard, and I watched Avengers Endgame. And I will tell you this, I'll give a product review. You know the neck pillows you've seen everybody get, the ones that wrap around, not that just you slide them on, the ones that kind of wrap around, looks like it's a neck brace. Yeah, those suck. Don't waste your money. I did like it, so don't waste your money. But we get in Friday, so we left at 10:30 a.m. London. So that would be 4 in the morning here in America. We made it back to Dallas at 2 o'clock. Flew, left at like 4:30, 4:45 back to Birmingham. So we got home and we stayed up probably till about 8:30, 9 o'clock, seeing the kids, unpacking some of the stuff that we need to, and went to bed. I got up at a decent, I felt like I got good rest. But I was excited because game day was on. And I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. If you're watching, share this, get people involved. Do you like Pat McAfee and what he's doing on game day? I mean, I saw some clips, and again, coming from an old radio guy, getting drunk on air and stuff, that was always a no-no, kind of frowned upon. I know that's kind of Pat McAfee shtick, but I don't know. I will say Nick Saban, I thought Nick Saban did a fantastic job heading into that game, but really, really enjoying watching game day again, just because it's, it's here, right? It's here. And we get to the game, and I was just happy to make it through. Like I said, after a long flight from London back to the United States to have football. And now my wife and I almost, we joked a little bit about staying for the Florida State game, because there were a ton of Florida State fans that were in London, because we were over there for about 10 days. And there was a lot of guys on Big Ten. But I'm down with drunk on camera as long as it's reasonable. Now, look, I have been known to partake in a little bit of bourbon while I'm doing my show, so I'm good. But like I said, just coming from an old radio guy, man, like the FCC violations and all that stuff, and I know this is a different platform, but Big Ten Backers, check them out, guys. If you want the best in Big Ten coverage, check out the Big Ten Backers. They got a great show. But a lot of Florida State fans were in London, which I was surprised at. Hit London, then go down to Dublin, Ireland. But I'm gonna get into the London trip, everything. I do want to start the show off by, did you guys see the female soccer match between Rutgers and UMass? Bourbon and coffee for the morning after show. Hell yeah. I love some Irish coffee. I love it. They got the bourbon cream from Buffalo Trace that I love. We drink beer on our show, just not getting drunk. Right. I mean, like I said, I'll have some bourbon and really get into it. But did you see the fight that happened in the women's soccer match with Rutgers and UMass? Did you see it? Because this is unbelievable. I want you to watch this. So you see the girl right up there, right? She gets taken down. And then, I take up, bam, 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 bam. They got into it. They were throwing haymakers. They were throwing uppercuts. Like this was a full-on brawl almost between, and this is why I tell people. So I officiated for a while. And I've stayed away from girls' sports, because female sports, those girls, they get really, really mad really quick, right? And just play that again. You want to see the fight? Here we go. I'm going to play this again while we're talking. Watching that upper corner, there's a hard foul coming. This girl comes to set the ball up quick after the foul, and the girl from UMass took umbrage to that. Next thing you know, she's throwing a two-piece, telling the girl to take a nap, right? But let's see. Brett Fine, Oregon Duck man. Brett Fine. What's up, Brett? How you doing, buddy? Let's call it Sports Drunk, Sports Bites. No one wants to see me trying to talk Hawkeye football, sounding like Boomhauer from King of the Hill. I love Boomhauer. I love Boomhauer. To play it again. Yeah, nice little fisticuffs. Look, bam. She almost got kicked in the face right there. So yeah, man, they are not playing around. But I had that. They're like, hey, do you want to officiate girls sports? No, I did football. I did baseball. I did basketball. I tell people I did basketball 1 year. I am not in good enough shape to keep up with the youth today playing basketball. Football, I could hide, like be an umpire in the middle, kind of move around. Everything's good. But basketball, and so I had to do basketball games. And I tell people all the time, there was a story. I remember two super predominant upper middle class schools, predominantly of the white persuasion. And it's a girls' game. And you could always tell when there was a foul that this girl was going to run over here and she was going to get back. You knew it was going to happen. And I've been to places that, you had to walk through metal detectors through to get to the court and everything. And they would come, hey, coach, hey, ref, watch this guy. He's kind of moving on the screen. Cool, I got you. The girls' game, she came up, she was like, hey, ref, that bitch is moving during the screen. And I knew it was going to be bad. I knew it was going to be bad. But that's why I don't do women's sports, because they get so upset. Like, you want to do softball? Nope, they got a bat. Not doing it. Not doing it. But that's what I saw this weekend, man, that big fight. I was once the referee for a women's KY Jelly wrestling tournament at a frat house. That turned out all right for me. Were you like John Candy in Stripes? John Candy in Stripes, as they went to before they went off and they had the little mud pit wrestling stuff. But I'm going to start getting into the games, guys. Let's get into the games. Let's talk about what we got. And you see right up, I mean, it's a beautiful stadium, 80,000 people here, and it's raining. Everyone's having a good time. It's Florida State, Georgia Tech. The whole Florida State revenge tour thing is kicking off, right? Everybody wants this. They got to get back, get retribution because they felt slighted, that they got left out. What happened to Georgia in the bowl game when they got absolutely pummeled, getting a bunch of guys from Alabama, Roy Dell, some of those people to come over. And then you bring in DJ Uiagalelei, a guy that if you go back and listen to my show starting last year, when I first started doing this podcast, early in the year, I talked about DJ Uiagalelei. I mean, the guy that was the number 2 quarterback prospect when he came out. Number 1 prospect was Bryce Young, who is actually doing a little bit better in the NFL right now. But right there, the first drive, CFL, they go down, Florida State scores. You're like, okay, here we go. Florida State came to play. What was Haynes King and them going to do? Now, but if you go back to the beginning of last year and you listen to my shows from the start, I have not been a DJU fan. And I say that only because I don't think he can make plays. The Florida State team, and what I saw that game against Georgia Tech, was some of the biggest look like Tarzan, play like Jane football I've ever seen. Everybody talking about how great this defensive line is going to be, probably the best defensive line in the country, and they got punched in the mouth. 36 carries, 190 yards, 5.3 yards a carry for Georgia Tech. They lined up and just took it right at him. Now, Haynes King, congrats to him. What was the big knock on him last year? Turnovers. 16 interceptions. He didn't have the best stats, 11 to 16, 146, but 0 turnovers. The only thing that was really wrong I saw Georgia Tech with Haynes King was doing was some of that mesh point, right? Some of the mesh point wasn't the greatest. And you saw the ball hit the ground twice. A bad snap and then that mesh point, problem. But, I pointed out to my wife, I was like, check it out. You're going to see that there is, it seems a little sloppy at times. But DJU is not that guy. And he proves it once again. Once again, he shows you that he's just not that guy. All right. Intermediate passing, cool. Down the field, you could tell they didn't trust him. And maybe it's because Florida State doesn't have the athletes on the outside to get there. But, and I'm going to tell you, I didn't catch the guy's name. I should have wrote it down. I apologize for that. But number 44, the most middle linebacker looking guy I've seen in a long time, right? The most middle linebacker. He's got the neck roll. He's all yoked up. He's ready to go. But I love Georgia Tech's game plan. You know, Haynes King, you're watching some of the highlights there. Doesn't look like he's going to just blow you away with speed, but he finds enough open area. He finds the way to get in there and, you know, really make sure that they have a good offense moving forward. Mike Norvell, I don't know what people are going to think about Mike Norvell moving forward. And I say that because they lost to Georgia so bad, then the whole world's watching this game. And you lay an egg. You lay an absolute egg. Now, again, I'm not going to take anything away from Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech played a fantastic football game. They did everything they needed to do. A couple bad penalties, you know, and then that last drive for Florida State, I thought Florida State did a really good job converting on fourth downs. They had to convert on 2 fourth downs. But then when Georgia Tech got the football back, and I looked at my wife, I said, what they're going to do is they're going to drive down, kick a field goal, win the game, and they did. So Georgia Tech comes out, wins the first game, upsets the whole apple cart for Florida State. Now the question is, what do they do? Now, also, when you talk about this being a brand new football season, the 12-team playoff. Now, a lot of people have had Florida State possibly winning the ACC. I didn't have one in the ACC. I'll tell you when I go where I have my top 25, and I'm going to show you where I have Florida State. You know, I'll do another ranking after this weekend, but my initial top 25 that I had, I'll show you where I had Florida State. I had them up in the top 15, close to the top 10, because I kind of bought into it. I was still hesitant because of DJ Uiagalelei, just not, you know, not who he's not that guy, and I didn't want to put him up there, but I did. Roy Dale, Will, all these guys coming in, like, yeah, here we go. Let's get into it. You faltered. Georgia Tech, you see them there. They're happy. They're jumping around, having a good time. And everybody wants to say, well, you know, I think it was the Florida State Barstool Twitter account said, have you ever flown halfway across the world trying to throw a football? Look, quit trying to defend DJ. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I just don't think he's a top-level quarterback. I mean, built like a linebacker, has athleticism, just can't hit the deep ball. And they don't trust him. You know, like watch that deep ball right there. And, you know, flags called, pass interference. I know there were some people that didn't like that call, but I thought it was a good call. Right? Heading into the next game, you know, Florida State goes right back into another ACC matchup against Boston College. Florida State's got some tough. They got Miami. They've got Florida. They've got, you know, Clemson. I mean, there's some landmines ahead of him. But with the 12-team playoff, this loss does not knock them out of the playoffs already. Now, I know sometimes even in the 14 playoffs, you know, people, you know, we're like, oh, you know, if you lose early, you can still recover. They're not out of it now. Now, I think the percentage went from 35% down to 12%, right? But now this is a gut check time for the Florida State team. You know, a lot of these guys weren't on that team last year. They took a lot of transfer guys, but the whole, you know, woe is me, you know, put us in, you know, we didn't get to play. And then you come out and do this. You look bad. DJ Uiagalelei, 19-27, 193 yards through the air for a 7.3 yard per pass completion. Roy Dale had 12 carries, 35 yards, a touchdown. So Teofoli had the one long touchdown. And it was kind of bottled up after that. 31 carries, 98 yards, for 3.2 a tug for Florida State. Look at some of this team stats. Florida State really controlled the game, 20 first downs to 16. They were 5 of 12 on third downs, but total yards, Georgia Tech had 336, 291. And again, kudos to Britt Key, kudos to the Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck, the Yellow Jackets. They did a good job. And it was such a, I'll say this, it was a clean game too. Other than the two little, like you see that right there, other than the two little snap problems, I think there was only 3 penalties in the game total. And for the first game of the year, as a coach, I know you got to be happy about having clean game. Again, not a lot of execution. Florida State, I think, had a hard time tackling, really letting them move forward after initial contact. You see that nice little draw right there by Haynes King. Again, he's not blowing you away with athleticism and speed, but he gets down the field. He matriculates down the field. He picks up yards. And I'm sorry, you probably heard my dog bark, so he's going to make it onto the podcast. But yeah, boom, another touchdown, hitting the flex on them. Georgia Tech feeling good, feeling great. It'll be interesting. I can't wait to talk to Trent Dilfer to see about how these people feel with, with this in-helmet communication. But here's DJ again, kind of thrown across his body. And like I said, intermediate passing, I think DJ Uiagalelei did a really good job, okay? But overall, just decision-making in deep throws, he wasn't there. He wasn't that guy. Georgia Tech, now you're set up for the season. Everybody, you beat Florida State. What are you going to do the rest of the way? Don't let this kind of be your crowning achievement. And you saw DJ U's dad right there. I think this was the drive where they converted on 4th down a couple times and were able to move forward, score to tie the game up. But again, it looked like they didn't trust him. What do you guys think in the chat? Is DJ Uiagalelei overrated? A lot of people say that he's not that guy. Now, again, this 4th down drive right here, this fourth quarter drive, I thought DJ did well with what the play was called. There goes a touchdown. I thought Georgia Tech was kind of like, okay, let's let them score. Let them tie it up. Let us get a chance. We've had really good success controlling the line of scrimmage up front. I think it was close to 200 starts for the whole offensive line combined. Look at that. Hit him with the little stanky leg, shaking and moving. One of those guys that you can't tackle him in a phone booth, just quick, sudden, and just driving down the field. And this came down to a big play, a nice little hot read outlet pass that Haynes King hit. They almost gave it away on a bad mesh point. And I like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they were going to do this. But there it is, a little bad snap. And the guy was going in motion. Like there was like just a bad mesh right there. That's all I'll say is a bad mesh, and really didn't do a great job. But see, right there, gets it out, cuts up field, and is going to keep it into a really good field goal position. Florida State is trash. Oh, George from the boot. The boot's coming up. Be sure you stay tuned on Dog TV. And there it is. That's the game winner. Georgia Tech does the jig in Dublin. They have a good time. It's a good game. I mean, it was a good game. It was a good game. So then I was excited about Montana State and New Mexico. Here's an FCS team. Everyone thinking this was going to be the time they could actually beat them. And, Montana State played really, really well, right? They kind of dominated the game. Other than 2 fumbles that were returned for touchdowns, Montana State really played exceptionally well. Now, they scored 21 points in a hurry, 93-yard touchdown. And then when New Mexico dropped the ball, see, here's the first scoop and score. Millette fumbled it, picked up. New Mexico goes in for a touchdown. But you look at Tommy Millette, 21 of 32, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. Running the ball is where Montana State got him. Adam Jones, 17 carries, 167 yards, 9.8 yards a carry. He's the one that had the 93-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. Humphreys, 19 carries, 140 yards. 36 rushes, or 362 yards rushing total from Montana State. 362 yards rushing from Montana State. New Mexico, Devin Dampler was kind of the do-everything for them. 18 of 26, 172 yards, 1 touchdown through the air. Eli Sanders, 17 carries, 87 yards, and Dampler had 3 carries, 34 yards, and a touchdown. So that was kind of like the only offense that they had, and not a pretty game. Not a pretty game. I mean, Montana State had 27 first downs. New Mexico had 19. Montana State was 6 of 12, so they were 50% on third down conversion, which wasn't bad. We'll be talking about Georgia Tech and Florida State for sure on the boot. That's right, guys. Hey, again, like I said, stay tuned. 8:30, the Golden Boot, all over. Go follow them, like them. Great insight. They've been very welcoming to me, being that they've been a part of the organization a lot longer than I have. And then, of course, with my team now coming into the SEC, they're all SEC guys. So we've had some fun banter back and forth, and really just I'm excited. We're gonna really dive into the SEC and stuff. But Montana State, they didn't give up and just came out there, executed play. Other than the 2 fumbles, and again, kudos to New Mexico. You take advantage of what's given to you, right? You got 2 fumbles, you go score. You do what you need to do. Just water. I'm not drinking Guinness. Now, I did drink a lot of Guinness when I was in London. We're going to talk about that later. But New Mexico State, they win 35-31. Or Montana State, not New Mexico State, sorry. But Montana State wins. And I think it's probably not the first FCS team that's going to beat an FBS team this year. There's a lot of people that think that the Bison are going to beat Colorado. There's a lot of people who want Colorado to lose, and I still don't understand all the hate. Look at that gap. He's taking 2 steps every 5 yards, just picking them up and putting them down, getting after it, right? And the holes. That's Montana State, and they're just blowing up a Division I school. But like, other than the 2 fumbles, Montana State, then they're just gashing them. 567 total yards of offense for Montana State. They end up winning this game 35-31. So I was excited to see. Let's go down here, move forward to this last little bit of action for them. Yeah, they get back into it. And let's see. Yeah, here we go. Here's the 93-yard touchdown run. When they really get back into it. So if you're watching live, you can check this out. Here, just a nice little cross buck. Boom. Bad angle right there. Is that number 77? Yeah, they had a number 77 as a defensive back. It threw me off. 93 yards, picking him up, putting him down, heels to the field. He was gone. Now, and look, when you hear Dusty Dvorak say that in the game, he got it from me. And I'm about ready to sue him for copyright infringement because I'm going to get that phrase. That was my touchdown. I'm going to get that. So I've got credit for it. Heels to the field. But here we go. New Mexico gets the ball back, and they got to, try to pick up a first down, and a horrible drop. Horrible drop right here. Bam, drops the football. And he knows. They got to punt it away. And Montana State just goes down, matriculates, and wins. So kudos to Montana State. Then I was excited about possibly seeing Preston Stone and SMU, right? All the talk about SMU. Now, this broadcast was absolutely horrible. The camera guy had a hard time keeping up. New Mexico showing why they're in New Mexico. You're right, but still, you need to go out and beat FCS teams, but they got absolutely manhandled. An odd day in Reno. It's 50 degrees. It's usually much hotter. All the hype around Preston Stone. He comes out, first pass, intercepted. Great play by the Nevada defensive back to step in, kind of baited him, steps right in, gets an interception, moves on, right? Not a bad deal for them. And there was an incident in the game, and as a former referee, I think the referees handle it very poorly. It was early, I think it was first quarter, and there was a little tussle between an SMU receiver and a defensive back from Nevada. And the SMU receiver open hand slaps the guy to the face, which I still have never understood, trying to hit somebody in the head when they're wearing a damn helmet. So after the guy from SMU slaps the Nevada player, his teammate comes over, shoves him down. Here's the flags, right? So I'm like, okay, he's ejected because he threw a punch. It's right there. And as a referee, they really try to tell you to control the game, especially it's the first game of the year. It's early, all the hype because everyone's SMU. They could, really make some noise in the ACC. Preston Stone is all this. They intercepted the first pass and, really just not firing on all cylinders for Rhett Lashley. But the officials decided just give unsportsmanlike, everything offsets, they move on. And I don't want to be an over officious jerk or anything like that, but those are the rules. You throw a punch, you're out. And he should have been out. But Preston Stone was 17 to 30, 254 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Brasheed Smith, 11 carries, 67 yards. And the big guy was RJ for the Ponies, receiving 8 catches, 102 yards, a touchdown. SMU had 22 first downs, 408 total yards to 298. Now, the time of possession, again, in this day and age, football, the possession time really doesn't mean a lot. I mean, a lot of people want to control the game, but here's another opportunity to see. Nevada had it for 36 minutes and 17 seconds. SMU only had it for 23 minutes and 43 seconds. So you had almost 13 minutes, almost a whole quarter more of football than what you saw there. But SMU comes back to win 29-24. And I don't know what you guys think. Watching the games this weekend, and maybe you still have to throw in some signals. Just because you have the in-helmet communication now doesn't mean that there's no signals going on, right? So to me, it looked like everyone was kind of slowing down a little bit. I think Florida State and Georgia Tech only had like 7 possessions for the whole entire game. So, very interesting, on how this is going to move forward. And also, I don't know if you know, so with the live video on the sidelines, the NFL still is only doing still imagery. They only have still pictures, but in college football, you actually have the live. So I'm trying to figure out how they, it's all technology, probably AI. They do a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, I mentioned, went on the trip, and I got to talk about some of the London snacks first. All right. Some of the London snacks. So you see these right here, the Woe Sticks, the Watsits, crunchy cheese, 1 pound 25. So that's like $1.89, something like that. They kick Cheetos ass. I'm sorry. These right here, so good. I think where my wife and I stayed, we had like a little bodega that was right here. We would go in there and the guy's like, "Hey, hello, buddy." Like, "Yeah, how you doing, man? Give me some of these." So good, right? So good. The snack game in London beats America. I'm sorry. They're good. They also have this paprika onion Pringles. Okay. The best Pringle flavor I've ever had. I'm a Pringle aficionado. I can sit down with a tube of Pringles, pound the whole thing, not even think twice about it, right? Onion paprika flavored Pringles. The best. The absolute best. All right. You need to check them out. And then different things like the dark Kit Kat bars. Fantastic. I felt like that little meme you see is like Delicious. Give me 14 of them right now. I don't care. The other thing I got to say is the water bottles, right? When you twist the cap off, it doesn't come fully off. It hangs so you can keep it on, which I thought at first it was kind of annoying, but then I was like, all right, I kind of dig this. So now it's time to get into it. I'm gonna go through. I hope you come along for the ride. I'm going for. Got to get through some of these pictures. I got to start all the way back at the beginning. Talk about this trip. So, like I said, my wife and I leave, and there we are. We're at look, and I'm gonna tell you, y'all can say whatever the hell you want to say. Went to the Taylor Swift concert at Wembley Stadium. Took my wife. We've been planning this for a whole year. 95,000 people at Wembley Stadium. And I'm going to say this, and it's probably going to upset some people, and I'll probably get some comments about it, but I don't care. I've been to quite a few concerts in my life. Saw some really big bands. I saw U2 play in Norman, Oklahoma. I saw AC/DC, right? Great bands. Taylor Swift concert, best damn show I've ever seen in my life. Everything involved. And plus, we were there when Ed Sheeran came out. I think our night won, and people dress up like the Eras and do all this stuff, which I thought was cool. They got involved. And I'm not trying to say that people don't go to concerts and don't sing for their favorite artists or whatever like that. But it was so cool for my wife and I, because there's a song Taylor Swift sings called King of My Heart. So I had on a shirt that was a red King of Hearts, shirt. That was one of the surprise songs. So everything, and we loved Ed Sheeran, Thinking Out Loud. That was, one of our songs. So fantastic. We got to see Taylor Swift. We got to see Ed Sheeran. We had a great time. Getting out of there was a little bit hectic. The tube went down, and so we're walking, trying to get far enough away to get Uber to come pick us up. And my wife could tell I was getting a little bit cranky. She's like, maybe we need to go sit down here. And then again, there were so many little different shops of food. It's called Royal Chicken. So I go in, and over there, I saw the chicken sandwich, but it's not called a chicken sandwich. It's a chicken burger. The chicken burgers, right? So we go in, have the chicken burger. Everything's great. Got back, took a lot of videos. Just really had a fantastic time to see everything. The bracelet trading, it's unbelievable the show that is put on. Then we went the next day. We got up and drove 4 hours to Manchester for the Manchester United soccer match, the kickoff of the Premier League season. You can see right there, that's a steak and potato pie and a cold beer. Now, the thing that I like about what they did at the soccer game or football, it came as a combo. And other than Arthur Blank, what they do at Mercedes-Benz, everywhere's so expensive. Like that was perfect. You had all the little condiments. You could put your little sauces on there. Everything is great. See the seats we had, fantastic to go to the Theater of Dreams and see the Manchester United play. They score in the 88th minute. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Then we got up the next morning, driving around, found breakfast in Manchester. I was like, you know what? You're in England. You keep hearing about the English breakfast. You got to have the English breakfast. I ordered the English breakfast, and you see it right there. Sausages, eggs, sourdough toast, the roasted tomato, roasted mushrooms. They had like little hash browns, the baked beans, and the little black disc you see right there. See the little black disc? Black pudding. Blood sausage, whatever you want to call it, which is basically pig blood, a fat, suet, and oats and season. I liked it. That's one of the best breakfasts I've ever had in my life. Beans and toast, it's actually pretty damn good together. Really, really enjoyed this place. Like I said, driving around Manchester and finding this little restaurant. That's bacon. They call it bacon. It looked like chunks of ham, but that's bacon over there. Fantastic breakfast, right? We get home that night. We go to the fish house. I got to have some fish and chips. That's my favorite. Fantastic beer. Pint. nice and cold. There's the fish and chips. And I'll tell you, they like fries / chips with almost every damn meal over in London. I've never eaten so many fries before in my life, but this place right here was in the town that we were staying in, had an onion infused vinegar to pour. Oh, fantastic. Now we go to the Borough Market. All right. And if you've seen the Borough Market anywhere, you've seen all the viral food stuff, right? This was from the Black Pig. You see everything that's on it. Slow roasted free range pork, fennel apple slaw, honey truffle mayo, salsa verde, pepperoncini aioli, 30-month-old aged Parmesan. That sandwich was amazing. Best sandwich I've ever had in my life. The flavors, unreal. If you go to the Borough Market, go to the Black Pig. And, of course, I had some Oklahoma stuff on that day, and I get a Boomer Sooner and I'm standing in line. So that made me feel good. Made me feel good. So the next night we come out and we're going to this place, the Hemingway, which is kind of like a little pub. The Scotch egg right there. If you've had a Scotch egg, it's so good. It's a boiled egg, sausage, breaded and fried. Had a little balsamic, so good. More fish and chips with the mushy peas, which is basically like mashed peas. Still great, right? Then one of the last days we were there, my wife went to Notting Hill. We did the kind of the cheesy rom-com thing. I went up to Notting Hill to see the bookstore, from the movie. But this restaurant, Sunday in Brooklyn, this is, and the picture doesn't know justice. That's one pancake, all right, with the maple hazelnut glaze, and that is a cinnamon brown butter pad on top of it. My wife got that. Had a bite of it. It was fantastic. One of the best pancakes I've ever had in my life. My breakfast, the steak and eggs. Sourdough toast, steaks with a little chimichurri on it. And again, this was only like 10 pounds. So 11, 12 bucks around there. Fantastic breakfast. Fantastic breakfast. We go to Piccadilly Circus. We go to Chinatown. I love ciders. I've always loved ciders. This cider right here, kiwi and lime, Old Moot cider. If there was a way to get in the United States, I would be a raging alcoholic. It was so good. We went to this dim sum place in Chinatown. Had the soup wontons. I'm like, fantastic. But that right there, that particular brand of cider was outstanding. I think I had 3 sitting there. So crisp, they taste so good. I loved that cider. There's another cider the night before we left. There's a place that we went to, and on Sunday, my wife got the Sunday roast. I got a chicken penne pasta, but this is the Magner's cider. So good. She had a prosciutto burrata pizza. Oh, hey, it's so good. And then I got a carbonara. Cap it all off. All right. Before we get out of here, I got to go over my top 25. And I'm going to show you my top 25. This is my top 25, and I made it before I left. This is not altered in any way. Here's my top 25. Number 25, I got Virginia Tech. I'm excited to see what Virginia Tech can do. They might cause a problem. All the returning production, the number of guys that are back, a dynamic quarterback, tough place to play on the road. I'll be interested to see what Virginia Tech can do. Oklahoma State, I think, it depends on Bowman. Ollie Gordon, one of the best running backs in the country, if not the best running back in the country. Bowman starting his 19th year of school, or he had a little post about that. Oklahoma State could be dangerous in the Big 12. I mean, there's a lot of teams. I almost had West Virginia up there. I think West Virginia is going to surprise some people. But the Big 12, even without Oklahoma and Texas, I think it got more competitive. And Alex Blackburn, who writes for us, covers the Big 12, kind of hit on that when I had him on the show last year after Big 12 Media Day. Got Boise State at number 23. Boise State's the team that I think is going to be that group of 5 school that punches their ticket to the playoff. Now, it'll be interesting to see the quarterback situation, what happens there, but I like Boise State. They're at 23. Kansas Jayhawks, rock chalk. I mean, they got a chance to win the Big 12. Jay Daniels got to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, Kansas is going to be dangerous. Arizona at 21. What can Arizona do? I mean, I know you're a new coach, but still have Noah Fafita. Really good football team. I've got them at 21. USC. I know our boss, Hunter, if he heard this, would probably be pissed off because I have him at 20. He's a huge USC fan. I've been burnt by Lincoln Riley before, just like that brisket. I've been burnt by Lincoln Riley. All right. So I got them at 20. NC State, and I'm going to tell you right now, NC State is who I'm picking to win the ACC. NC State. You hear my dog barking again. Getting after it. But I got NC State at number 19. Texas A&M, Giga Whoops, Elko comes in. We'll see how good they're going to be. Again, probably one of the most rated schools in college football history. We'll see. My Sooners, I put them at 17. Still a lot to prove. You hear a lot about, what's going on at Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold, they released the depth chart today. Freshman defensive lineman Jaden Jackson was the IMG teammate of David Stone, two of the top defensive tackles in the country. As a freshman, he is listed as a starter for the first game against Temple. So Jaden Jackson, a name to keep an eye out for. Missouri at number 16. I'm still not sold on Missouri. I think they've got a little bit better offensive continuity than Oklahoma with Cook and Luther Burden and Theo Weiss. So I still think Oklahoma beats them, but looking at initially, I put them at 16. Tennessee, number 15, Nico Iamaleava is going to be fun to watch, see what happens. If Brew can stay healthy, if Squirrel can stay healthy, Tennessee is going to be really dangerous. Kansas State is one of those teams that I think this year nobody wants to play. I think they're just going to be, like Kansas State. They're going to line up. They're going to come right at you. Can you stop it? Can you stop it, right? Clemson, I had them up there because, again, I still have faith in Dabo being able to coach it up, right? But here's the thing. How long will just grassroots recruiting be the only lifeline for the Clemson Tigers, right? No NIL, no transfer, stuff like that. I don't know how long that could be viable. Utah, number 12, Cam Rising coming in. He's a 32-year-old quarterback. I like Utah. They're physical, bring it to you. I had Florida State at 11, and like I said, I didn't do a poll after because not everybody in the top 25 played. I'm gonna do one after this weekend, but I had Florida State at 11, Penn State at number 9. Just because so many people are so high on them, I don't have the buy-in on Allard yet, right? I don't have the buy-in. Notre Dame, just because their schedule's set up for them. Number 8, Ole Miss at number 7, do or die year for Lane Kiffin. Michigan at number 6. I still think Sharon Moore, they know how to play football. It'll be interesting to see how it fares, but I think Michigan's going to be good. Texas at number 5. Again, it's like acid in my mouth giving Texas any kind of credit at any time. Number 5, Alabama's not going anywhere, guys. I think Alabama makes a run in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to win the national championship, but Kalen DeBoer, from what I had in my interactions when I was at the press conference after their first scrimmage and stuff, I mean, Kalen, he's a coach. He wins, right? And they still have a lot of talent. They still have a lot of, Alabama people on there going to get the job done. Number 3, Georgia. We'll see. Georgia's got a tough road ahead. They got to play Texas. They got to play Clemson. They got to play Alabama. I'll tell you this. I don't believe there's going to be an undefeated team this season. I don't believe so. If somebody's undefeated going into the playoffs, they will have earned it, no matter what conference you're in. If you're in the Big 10 now, if you're in the Big 12, if you're in the SEC, if there's a team that's undefeated heading into that playoff and you get that bye, one of the top 4 to get the bye, that's a hell of a football team, guys. Because I think if I had to bet right now, I would say there's no team that goes undefeated. None. But I got the Buckeyes at number 2. Again, I think this is a make or break year for Ryan Day. If they don't beat Michigan, early exit in the playoffs, or if they lose to Oregon, should they bounce him? He's not getting it done with the talent and all the money that's going on up there. Judkins, everything they got going on. Can they get it done? And number 1, I got the Oregon Ducks. Dylan Gabriel poised to set all kinds of records, career records. Of course, he's been playing for so long, but right now he is the betting favorite for the Heisman Trophy. That's my top 25. Now, let me know what you think. Follow me. Again, I'm excited. I'm going to start up next week, the conference bite shows. I'm going to try to get some done this week, but stay tuned. Again, 30-minute little hitters about the conference, the teams that are playing, and kind of looking like the week ahead. Friday, I'll probably pre-record the show because Oklahoma plays at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to be watching the Sooners. Then I'll have a reaction Monday, talk about my time at the UAB game, trying to get to the Alabama-Western Kentucky game to cover them. So, again, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank everybody that hopped in. I want to thank everybody that follows and supports. Hop on board. Share all the socials. Like it. Subscribe. Follow. Get people involved, right? We're going to have a good time with this year, I promise. But until then, guys, I want y'all to have a good night. Remember to always positively move forward.
Thanks for joining us on this delicious journey through the world of sports and food on Sports Bites with your host, Chris Joseph. We hope you've enjoyed the game day stories and culinary adventures. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you've got any mouth-watering sports-related tales or favorite game day recipes, share them with us on social media. Until next time, remember, it's not just about the game. It's about the bites that make it unforgettable. Stay hungry for more Sports Bites.